I want to take a look at the New York Scalper and the update on that, what the latest is on that. When you lease New York Scalper, you get a chance to trade either TS New York Scalper, the version 1 or version 2. The basic difference is there's an ADX filter in the version 1. We took it out in version 2, and it does a little better on the average profit per trade. Here are the parameters you've got. You get the bandwidth add, limit entry, start time, stop time, stop loss, profit target, and exit time. And this strategy generates a great equity curve, but the average profit per trade is too small to trade in real time. But this is going back 3 years. There's no slippage or commission. You get 17.45 per trade on average there, and 32.25 drawdown, 39.68. Beautiful equity curve. But once again, once you add any slippage or commission, that number is just too small. We didn't test it, back test it so that the limit entries, when I say back test it so the limit entries, that means to click on this properties for all and go into here in your back testing and click on this. We didn't test it like that. If you do, it's actually a negative equity curve. So this is not a tradable system. Typical of something that trades a lot with a tight profit target of $100. You can generate strategies like this, and they'll generate equity curves like this. But when you try to trade them, they're not profitable. But the good news is that we use the dll to trade the money management algorithm for the New York Scalper to trade this and make this better. So I want to take a look at this here. So when I say the dll, I'm talking about this chart at the bottom right here. It's a dll, and this is the yellow is the open equity for the day, and it starts over at 0. And the first tick of tomorrow will go back to 0. But it made 287.50 on all these trades with no slippage or commission, and so then it sends this data over to this window, and then this window picks it up and it trades off this data. But I want to show you the way this works is that this strategy will not trade. Let me show you the inputs for this the way we have it set for the latest. Where did it go? Alright, there it is. Close this down and open up this one. When format the strategy, show you the inputs for the money management version. We're on TS Money Management version 2, and these are the inputs that we're using. Bandwidth is the same. Bandwidth add is the same as the original strategy. We have max daily entries of 7, which there's usually not more than just a couple of 3 trades on this anyways. Start time is 10:15 Eastern. End time is 15:30. And we turn on Money Management Rule 1, and that means if the end of day EOD drawdown is $100 or more, which means it's lost $100 or more on the previous day in this window on the left here, then it will trade the next day. Or if the Money Management Rule 2 closed equity drawdown is 150, so at the end of any trade on this day on this left window, if there's a loss of $150 or more on the day, then it will start. Originally we had this at 300. I changed this to 150 to get and found a little bit better results. We generate a little bit more trades because it doesn't trade as much with 300. And then we can do an open equity drawdown as well, and that's set to false. It doesn't really help it out. Move the stop loss down to 500, and this will give it more room and increase the average profit per trade, increase the percentage of winners. The profit target moved up to 200, and this basic window and the base window, it's a $200 stop loss at a $100 profit target. But in the window on the right where we're trading is a $500 stop loss, $200 profit target. We turn the smart stop loss off, and what the smart stop loss would do, it would not get into a trade if it wouldn't get out and re-enter a trade. So if it was going to re-enter a trade, it would not stop out and re-enter, generate a bunch of trades and commissions. So it would we just turn this off, exit at 1600. And so those are the inputs. I'm going to take a look at the results. This is what we get: $39.49 average profit per trade, $3,000 drawdown, 34.7, 12.50. Let's look at the performance graph. Pretty good equity curve, not as good as this one, but this is actually more tradable with 39.49. We're on the threshold there. of a profitable strategy that can actually turn a profit, 69% profitable. Want to take a look at the long trades though. 46.27. That's the average profit per trade on the long trade. So you could just trade the long side the last few years and do pretty good with that average profit per trade, and then just pass on the shorts. So you can set that up in automation as well. The way you do that, you would go in here to format strategies, and where it says sell short, you would say exit only. So then when it would hit those short signals, it would show. I'm going to go ahead and show you that. Let's go back and find the first trading day. Here's a trade. And so if this is a short signal, it would just exit there. Let me find a short signal where it was long first for that day. So here's one. On this trade, for example, it would have gotten long here, and it would exit at the short signal when you have that setting instead of going short. And so that's how you would set that up to just do long signals. You don't have to change the code or anything, or do it manually. You can change it in TradeStation by making it exit only. And I want to show you what this looks like when we go in here and we format the strategy to show, let's see, back testing, fill entire order when the trade price exceeds the limit price. So all our limit orders will not show up historically unless the price actually traded through it. That way you know in real time it would have actually traded through and got through. When you test a strategy with limit orders, you don't always know whether those limit orders got filled, and so for automation you have to cancel and replace your limit order at the market, and you're almost guaranteed slippage every time you have a limit order. So let's take a look at this to where you can go in here and it reduces the overall profitability of the strategy, but you can know that there's no slippage on all limit orders. And so most of the trades are limit orders, and so you can reduce a lot of slippage factors in this. So I'm going to pause the video while this is updating. So it's updated now, and I'm going to show you here. This is the results. It's still $31.32. When you trade the price to the limit, 67, almost 68% of these trades are profitable. The stop loss is 500. I was going through and counting them. In the first 200 trades, there's about 13 that were stopped out, and so in 680 trades, there might be about 45 trades if it gets stopped out at that same pace. Some losses are done based on a reversal. Sometimes trades reverse at a loss, and that is a limit order too. So if you get slippage on half of the trades that are stopped out, and then you got to think about slippage when you exit on the close, and then some commissions, you can still get about 15 to 17 bucks a trade on average on this strategy, which is pretty good for a high frequency strategy. 680 trades in 3 years is a lot of trades really for one system, and a pretty low drawdown. So here's the equity curve again on this. It's a good equity curve, and it's pointed north, so it looks like it could go up here and make some new equity peaks pretty soon. So pretty cyclical, and you go through long periods of winning streaks too when you get on a roll with this. So then you get these occasional drawdowns, which we've just been in, and so anything can happen. The volatility could pick up and the market could go crazy, and it wouldn't be as productive for a counter trend strategy to trade in that market condition. So I want to show you also one for the forex, and that's up next. It's called FX Chopper. Alright, FX Chopper is even more high frequency than New York Scalper, so I haven't run the money management algorithm on this yet. That is next up. But you can see this thing is unbelievable results hypothetically. $220,000, $23.99 drawdown, $91.71, and $78.80 average profit per trade. Equity curve is amazing. This is the Australian dollar versus the New Zealand dollar. It's got a 5 pip spread, but we're using limit orders, and I've set the settings to trade through. This is FX Chopper 3. I've tested different versions. This is a strategy I've had back in 2006,
And fill entire order when trade price exceeds the limit price, so you don't get slippage on the limits. And had this back in 2006, and I was looking it up again recently, and really good results. Let me see here. It's locking up on me. It's a lot of data to process. It takes a lot of time once you change something. Once it goes into calculating analysis techniques like this, it takes a long time when you have this many trades, and if you requested to trade the limit through the back, trade through the back, the limit order to trade through the price for it to be filled, then it takes even longer for this to calculate. So I'm going to pause the video. It's hard to develop on this. I just recently got a newer computer with more memory of 16 gigabytes, i7 processor, but TradeStation is only limited to 3 gigabytes. I found that afterwards, and so also it just takes a lot of time to process some of this. So I'm going to put this on pause, and we'll come back to it here. Alright, it's updated. This is going back 3 years. It does not include slippage and commission, and it uses 125k lot trades. Here are the results: 7880, and it was just automatically updating and refreshing on its own. And so I want to take a look at some of these trades and what it means to trade through the limit. This means that you won't get a fill at the high or the low of the bar. Here, this almost looks like it's at the high of the bar, but if we zoom in here, we can see that it traded through that limit price. And let's go back. There is one trade. See, that traded through the limit, that traded through the limit. Then that was the exit. We exited there. These all traded through the limits. This is a really good day right here. We trade through the limit, trade through the limit, trade through the limit, trade through the limit, trade through the limit. And so we'll have to check this and see how it works going forward in real time. This trade right here is not one that traded to the limit. I can't figure out why it did not test properly, but it got filled at the low price. Let's see, the low price is 128.792, and it bought at 128.792. I don't know if it's because it's the first bar of the session. You see this ends at 16:59 Eastern time, and then it reopens up at 1700, so it's closed for 1 minute. And then it reopens. This is a 5-minute bar, so it says 1705, but it really opens up at 1700. So it's closed for 1 minute, and then I don't know if there was because it opens at the first bar of the day, it makes that mistake on that. But all these others that I've been looking at trade through the limit. That trades through the limit. That one traded through the limit. Zoom in so we can see that. That traded through the limit. That traded through the limit. Exited there. Let's see. Those all traded through the limit. That one was kind of close. But you can see it traded through the limit. You can use these zoom tools. So you can see this is a chopper strategy because you typically get chopped up at this time period of the day. And in this type of market, it typically chops more. I've also tested this on the euro versus the pound because these are similar markets in countries that are close together, and they tend to chop more. They're not as trendy, so we trade a counter trending strategy, and we just try to take advantage of the chop. And so let's take a look at these trades here. Right in here, all of those traded to the limit, but these are kind of close. That traded to the limit, that traded to the limit, that traded to the limit, there. And so there you see a similar strategy to New York Scalper. We're going to test this in real time and see what happens, as well as on the euro versus the pound with small trades, and see what happens. And we are also going to test the money management algorithms on this. I think it'd be interesting to see what it would do using the better entry or a New York Scalper type algorithm, where it doesn't trade until there's a losing day. But there's not as many losing days in this. Very hypothetically, it looks very good, so it looks too good to be true. So I will update you on this and see what the actual results are. But that is the update on the high frequency trading systems that we have in New York Scalper and FX Chopper.